Welcome to DU Digimon.
Hello and welcome to DU Digimon and welcome to yet another deck profile. If you're liking this sort of content, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Now this is not my list, this is Charles's list. Charles's list for XROS HEART, Shoutmon, the King, however you want to refer to it. This is his list. He's made some changes to the list since doing the match that we had on Friday, but do still check that out. There were no misplays in that match at all, guaranteed. Anyways, this is his list. It goes pretty crazy and it does stuff like the picture that's about to be flashed up on screen. It does some crazy stuff. Let's get into the card by card and have a look at the list. So first, starting off with the egg, of course, is the new Pixmon from BT20. When attacking, you place one Digimon card with the XROS HEART or Blue Flare trait from your hand under any of your tamers, and then you draw one. So it's a really nice way of being able to not only kind of get yourself some draw power, but also set up your later cross plays, which is really nice. Then we've got the Shoutmon, also from BT19. The general gist with Charles's list is the vast majority of stuff is from BT19, so fresh out of the box kind of stuff. So the Shoutmon essentially can Digivolve for 0 on top of a level 2 XROS HEART in its trait, so you don't necessarily have to worry about the one cost here. Obviously you could do it if you want to, but you don't have to. On play, this Digimon may Digivolve into Omni Shoutmon under one of your tamers without paying the cost, so it just warps straight up into Omni Shoutmon if you've got the right sort of stuff underneath your tamers. Then it's got an on-deletion effect, which essentially allows you to reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, play one tamer card with the XROS HEART trait among them without paying the cost, and then return the rest to the bottom of the deck and then save. So it does mean it can whiff. So honestly, I kind of wonder if whether or not Charles should be playing more tamers, but if this is the ratios that are working for him, that's the ratios that work for him. That's just it at the end of the day. But the fact that this thing can not only play out a tamer if it hits one, but then will just save itself underneath that tamer, or indeed under one of our other tamers, really good. But then this other inheritable is is this Digimon with the XROS HEART trait gains rush, so it can give any of your XROS HEART Digimon rush, which is great for your cross plays. It means you've got rush to throughout your entire build essentially, which is really nice. Then we've got the Starsmon, again at 4 copies. All of our rookies are at 4 copies. It has Decoy XROS HEART trait, so essentially it can, if one of your XROS HEARTs is about to be deleted, you can delete this instead. On deletion, you may play one Shooting Starmon from under your tamers without paying the cost. Then place one Starsmon and one Pixmon from your trash as that Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. So essentially, instead of you deleting the Starsmon, it digivolves, essentially, is the way that works. Then you've got the when attacking, if this Digimon has the of course you don't get the draw from the Digivolve. It's Digivolve in action less than in actual Digivolution, if that makes sense. When attacking is the inheritable. If this Digimon has the XROS HEART trait, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn, which is really useful in conjunction with the when attacking effect of your EX6, as well as just in general kind of attacking in. Really, really good effect. Then we've got the Sparrowmon. This guy also does Digivolve on top of a XROS HEART or a Twilight for a cost of 0. When attacking, this Digimon may Digivolve into Raptor Sparrowmon under your tamers without paying the cost. On deletion, save. Then also has the inheritable of this Digimon with the XROS HEART trait gains collision. So all of your Digimon on top of this will have the collision kind of trait, which is really, really good for kind of taking out problematic Digimon. Then going into the level 4s, first one is Shooting Starmon, who is a really integral piece to the deck because of some later combos that you can do. This card is also treated as Starsmon for a Digicross, so you could use it as Starsmon if you need it to. All turns, when any of your XROS HEART trait Digimon are played until the end of your opponent's turn, to give one of their Digimon security attack -1 and gets 3000 DP. And just like with something like Medieval Gallantmon, it does count itself with that effect. Because it does say, when any of your XROS HEART trait Digimon are played, and it itself has XROS HEART, so it recognizes itself for that effect. On deletion, you may place one Digimon card with the XROS HEART trait or Blue Flare trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers, so it just gives you a little kind of additional save. You could potentially do it with itself. You could do a better target like a Z Greymon or something like that that's gone to trash, whatever you want really. Then when attacking, if this Digimon has the XROS HEART trait, one of your opponent's Digimon gains minus 2000 DP for the turn. turn. So same inheritable as the rookie. Then we've got the Raptor Sparrowmon, who, of course, when you're attacking him with the Sparrowmon, you can Digivolve up into this. On play, when Digivolving, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait among them to the hand, and trash the rest. Then has an on-deletion effect. You may place 1 Digimon card with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers. So same effect as the Shooting Starsmon. And then, of course, has got the ability to give you collision on the inheritable. So really great searcher for the deck. Does cost quite a bit, obviously, if you're looking to kind of hard play it. But if you're Digivolving up into it with the Sparrowmon effect, it's really not that bad. Then, going into the level 5s, we've got the Omni Shoutmon. On play, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn, then delete one of their Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So you can delete quite a wide array of stuff for that because you're minusing them. It also counts as Shoutmon for a Digicross, which is pretty nice. And then has that same on deletion. You may place 1 Digimon with a Cross Heart. I think I think all of the level 5s and level 4s have this on deletion effect. So just, you know, not saving per se, but kind of like pseudo saving, where you can place anything you want underneath. It's almost like a better version of save, really. And then also, just like the Shoutmon, gives Rush as the inheritable to your Cross Heart Digimon. Then we've got the Jaeger Darulumon, which kind of a shame that Charles is not playing the normal Darulumon that I think could Digivolve into the Jaeger Darulumon, but you know, I can see why as well. We've got quite a lot of pieces in this deck. We want to make it consistent, so you know, we might avoid tricks like that. On play, when Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then until the end of their turn, one of their Digimon can't activate when Digivolving effects or unsuspend. So that's really nice because of the fact it can switch off aces. We're seeing this effect pop up more and more. This ability for kind of cards to just kind of go, nope, you don't get to activate your when Digivolving effects. Now, obviously, that does not work against Blast DNAs, but it does work against just a normal kind of Blast counter, so not bad at all. Then again, same on deletion as the other ones as mentioned, and then also has your turn, this Digimon with the Cross Heart trait gains Piercing, so you give Piercing to your Digimon that this is under. And then we've got the Alta Ballistamon. It's also treated as Ballistamon for a Digicross, which is not bad. On play, when Digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon can't be returned to hand or deck by your opponent's effects and gets plus 3000 DP. Then again has that same on deletion and gives blocker to everything that it's under. So really, really good little card right there. Then I'm going to go to level 6s, but I'm going to start with this one, the Zeeg Greymon, because this one's more in here as a cross target for the other level 6. On play, when Digivolving, you de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Then if your opponent has 1 or more Digimon, return one of their level 4 or lower Digimon to the hand. Then on deletion effect, you may play 1 Blue Flare or Crosshair trait Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less from under your tamers without paying the cost, and then save. And has an all turns effect to give 2000 DP, which is really nice. So, you know, whether you're being offensive or defensive, you've always got that 2000 DP there. I don't think you can physically... no, you can technically Digivolve on top of the Alta Ballistamon if you needed to, but all of your other level 5s are not targets for your Digivolution, but technically speaking, you can Digivolve on top of the Alta Ballistamon with this if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you can, just in case you need to know it. Then the star of the show, the EX6, our triple colour EX6. This guy is bonkers. So starting off with his Digicross kind of requirements, you can use Omni Shoutmon, Zeeg Greymon, Alta Ballistamon, Jaeger Darulumon, and Raptor Sparrowmon all underneath it to reduce the cost of it by 2 for each named Digimon. So he costs 11. So if you've got all 5, you're playing him out for 1, which is nuts. Especially when you've then got to take into consideration it gains Rush, it gains Piercing, it gains Blocker, 2000 DP, Collision. It's kind of insane. And then on top of that, it has Alliance, Reboot, and Material Save 4. As keywords as well, so even if it does die, you can save the majority of your kind of pieces from underneath. Then its on play effect is for each colour in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 1000 DP for the turn. Then you may play 1 Shooting Starmon from under your tamers without paying the cost. So it brings out that Shooting Starmon along with it, so it kind of gives itself an alliance target, which is really good. Then its when attacking effect is you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as this Digimon. So again, depending on how you've managed to kind of work things with your you know, your inheritable stuff like that, you know, this guy could be deleting a 14k Digimon. Potentially, you know, you could use the when attacking to the Starsmon and the Shooting Starmon to reduce the stuff down before you then cross into the X6. Obviously, because you probably would not retain these inheritables when crossing into this guy. But just a really good, and that when attacking is also not once per turn. So if you manage to unsuspend, which there is a way to unsuspend with this in this deck, you can then swing in again, delete something else. Really, really great card. Very powerful when it hits the board, and kinda nuts. Then going into our level 7s, we've got the Cross 7 Superior mode, which is still to this day the Digimon with the highest native DP in the game. Even taking into consideration the new BT21 version of this card, that one also has 17,000 DP, so that is definitely a thing that Bandai is looking to keep consistent. This guy is big because he is, every Digimon all in one. It's kind of crazy that, he's every Digimon all in one, and he's only 17,000 DP, in my opinion. Like, Omnimon X is part of this guy, that's 16. I don't know. I mean, it'd be kind of bonkers if it was any bigger, let's be honest. But this guy has a couple of interesting effects. So first of all, the Digicross requirements. What's really cool is technically you can put infinite amounts of Digimon cards with the Crosshair or Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait and different card numbers underneath it. So you can't play infinite amounts of cards in this game. You only can have a 50 card limit for your decks. But the fact that they've written that as an infinite kind of sign is really funny. And for each Digimon you put underneath it, it reduces it by 1. So the more you put under, obviously the more it will be able to do. Then what it could also do is when you would play this card by placing a Shoutmon as a Digivolution card under this Digimon, you reduce the cost by 1, and you may place cards in your trash as Digivolution cards for a Digicross. So really interesting thing to note, because it came up in the match. Now they did do this correctly in the match, but Omni Shoutmon, he counts as a Shoutmon for the Digicross. He does not count as Shoutmon for when you're putting it under your sources. These are two different mechanics. Does not count as a Shoutmon. It has to specifically be this Shoutmon to do that effect, essentially, or just an Shoutmon. Then the rest of his effects. So on play, it returns all of the Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of its owner's decks in any order, and return that Digimon to the bottom of its owner's decks. So kind of does something similar to Paladin mode, of course. This is a few sets before Paladin mode. Only does it on one Digimon, but at least it's doing the thing of also bouncing something to the bottom of their deck. Then the Your Turn effect is all your opponent's security effects on option cards don't activate. So key thing there on option cards. So Digimon security effects will still go off. So if something plays after during a battle, that will still go off. If it's a Magnamon and it de-digivolves you, then that will still go off. So bear that in mind. But he's a very interesting boss mod. I always feel like he's more in here for thematics. Because I actually think the other card that Charles has put in here for a level 7, Chaosmon Valderarm, is kind of better. And obviously it's a much newer card. It's BT20 versus BT12, so there's obviously that. But the Valderarm, I watched him playing Shoutmon the other day, and he'd managed to bring the Valderarm out, and he can actually make use of the Valderarm's effects more than Valderarm can in its own deck, which is really funny. So it has security stat +1. It has partition for a yellow and a yellow level 6 and a black level 6, which actually we could do. Yellow level 6, black level 6. So if you've got 2 of this, you can partition into 2 of those. If you've got this underneath it, you can partition into this, which is really, really cool. So you can still get the partition off with this guy. Then when digivolving, obviously you don't need to DNA digivolve into this to use its effects, but having that partition live is really cool. When digivolving, for each of this Digimon's level 6 Digivolution cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and gain 1 memory. So that does not matter the the traits or the colors, it's just level 6 Digimon. So if you've managed, and I'm pretty sure Charles managed to do this, again you'll see the stack on screen. I'm fairly sure he'd managed to DNA Digivolve using 2 of the EX6. So that then meant he'd not only crossed into this, he then had this underneath, and I think a 2 Z Greymons underneath it as well. So he had 4 underneath it, which means he could suspend 4 and gain 4 memory, which is twice what it can do in its own deck. Because obviously in the Axel deck, it only has the 1 Bancho Leomon and the 1 Varadoramon underneath it. Whereas in this, because of the very fact that Shoutmon EX6 crosses using a level 6 Digimon, you can have more level 6 Digimon underneath this, which is nuts. That's so cool. Then on top of that, of course, none of their Digimon or Tamers can then activate on-play effects or unsuspend until the end of their turn, so it just locks the board off. It's an incredibly powerful card, has brought a real, lifeblood to a lot of these yellow decks. I mean, obviously Sakuyamon's using it, and Sakuyamon, honestly, can't use it half as crazily as XROS HEART can. So great card, and honestly, I would not blame Charles for taking out Superior Mode and putting in 2 copies of this instead. I would not blame him at all. Yes, it's going to whiff on some of your searches, but it could be worth it. It's such a crazy card. Then going into the Tamers, we've got the 4 copies of Taiki Kudo from BT10. Still one of the best Tamers that the deck has available to it because of the fact it does search, so it reveals top 4 of your cards of your deck. Add 1 card with the XROS HEART in its traits among them to your hand, and place 1 Digimon card with XROS HEART in its traits among them under this Tamer. So essentially, you not only get to search something to your hand, but you also get to set up a crossplay, which is really good. Then you place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. And then when you would play a Digimon with Digicross requirements, by suspending this Tamer, you may place cards from under your Tamers as Digivolution cards for a Digicross. So not bad at all. Then we've got the Taiki, Kiriha, and Nene from BT11. By placing 1 Digimon card with XROS HEART or Blue Flare in its traits from your hand under this Tamer, gain 1 memory and draw 1. Then, when you would play a Digimon card with a Digicross requirement, by suspending this Tamer, you may place cards from under your Tamers as Digivolution cards for a Digicross. So these are the only Tamers that Charles is playing right now. We will have a look into a couple of the other Tamers that you can be playing in this deck as well, just as little tech options, but we'll get into those in a little bit. Then into the options, he's got 3 copies of Meteor, Rock, Soul. Now this is the way that he essentially does the unsuspend shenanigans. This has 2 different effects. First of all, the first effect is you may play 1 XROS HEART trait Digimon card with 4000 DP or less from under your Tamers without paying the cost. And then the other effect is by spending 1 of your Shoutmon EX6 and 1 of your Shooting Starmon, 1 of your Digimon may attack a player. So you can actually use this to not only get your alliance again, but actually to swing for game, because it's 1 of your Digimon may attack a player. So you can actually use this. If you've gotten all their security, destroyed out of the way, you can then just slap this down, unsuspend your EX6 and your Shooting Starmon, which, bearing in mind, you have to have both on the field to be able to do this. You could then just, 1 of your Digimon may attack a player, swing in with a cross 6, and boom, there you go, you've got game. Then it's got a good security effect as well, which is the same as its first effect, which is you may play 1 XROS HEART trait Digimon card with 4000 DP or less from under your Tamers without paying the cost. So not bad at all. Then Charles has got, just for the consistency, Sepia Memory Boost. It reveals top 3s, add 1 black or yellow Digimon card among them to the hand, and then also has that delay of gaining 2 memory. And if you hadn't noticed by now, every Digimon in this deck, apart from Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode, is yellow or black, which is really nice for that consistency. Again, potentially a reason to put in 2 copies of Alderarm and get rid of the Superior Mode, but of course the Superior Mode can be searched in other ways. So yeah, really lovely deck. Let's now take a look at a couple of little tech options that you can play in XROS HEART. Right, so let's take a look at some tech cards that you could potentially use for the XROS HEART stuff. There is also some stuff sprinkled in here from BT21, so we will leave that stuff last. But some stuff that you could potentially play in this, you've got the Shoutmon King version from BT12 just to help out play more of your Taikis. Speaking of Taikis as well, there's the one from BT19. This one's not too bad. When any of your XROS HEART trait Digimon cards with Digicross requirements would be played by suspending this Tamer, one of your Tamers could be cards from under your Tamers can also be placed for their Digicross, so same thing, but it is also a memory Tamer. So it does give you access to a memory Tamer whilst also giving you that kind of cross requirement. It obviously wouldn't be something you'd play as a 4 of, like the current Tamers that Charles is playing, but it's not too bad at all. We've also got the BT12 Taiki. This one's more if you're Digivolving up, which obviously is not something Charles's build is doing, but can be something that you potentially want to play. Then looking at some of the other stuff, of course there is the Shoutmon Cross 4 from BT10. This guy is still limited and still pretty good. Obviously the one thing with this is though that you have to be kind of putting in the Ballistamon, Darulumon, and I was saying that actually because the Ballistamon and Darulumon I think both count as in the Jaeger and the Altar count as Ballistamon and Darulumon. So currently Charles could probably play this, to be fair, if he wanted to. Obviously he's not. He's decided not to because just wants more consistency with what his current game plan is, but this is potentially something that you can play around with. Then of course, speaking of the Darulus and stuff like that, this one can actually digivolve up into the Jaeger Darulumon. This one can do the same with Volta Ballista, so not bad at all. Then other things you could potentially play, the Kiriha potentially can help you because it does allow you to put your Cross Heart trait stuff under your tamers to gain a memory as well. So it's not that bad. So the only thing is the all turns effect doesn't really do much for you because of the blue flare kind of suffix for that. So just bear that in mind. We've also got the Shoutmon X5 from BT19. So this guy, essentially, when it would leave the battle area, you place up to 3 Digimon cards with Cross Heart trait from this Digimon's Digivolution cards under one of your tamers. So if it were to leave for any reason, you just save some stuff from it. Then, as an on-deletion effect, you may play 1 play cost 4 or lower Digimon card with a Cross Heart trait from under your tamers without paying the cost. So you can play out your Shoutmon, for example. That can then get got on play to go up into the Omni Shoutmon, just as a little example. Then we've also got the Luminamon in here as well. This does search some of your pieces, whilst also being a save part. Now, you could also put in the Nene version as well. The only thing, of course, is that it's kind of hard to field Nene Amano as a tamer in this, and as well as the Shaybon. So your only real cross kind of target is going to be Luminamon, but you can use this essentially to play out some of your level 4 or lower Digimon from underneath either yours or your opponent's stuff, and then delete a chosen Digimon. So what you can do is potentially target the X5 if you're fielding them together, to then play out something from underneath this, and then put some stuff underneath your stuff, do the undeletion of this, just go wide. It's a kind of piece dependent, and so I can see why Charles is not fielding that, but it's potentially something you can do. Then, of course, we've got to talk about some of the stuff that we're getting from BT21 and stuff like that. There's this promo. I can't actually remember when this promo is being made available. If it's not already available, it might already be available. I can't remember. But this one's quite cool if you're fielding the Darulumon stuff. Just gives minus 2000 DP to stuff, and then you get to, essentially place the Digimon card with the Cross Heart trait and this Digimon's Digivolution cards under one of your tamers. So if you are doing more of a Digivolving up build, that's not bad. Then looking at the BT21 stuff, which also does help the hero deck. This one does reduce the cost of going into your heroes. Has the save, does give that rush again as the inheritable. Then we've got the Omni Shoutmon, which of course you can warp into with your current BT19 one. End of attack, you may play 1 card with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait, or the Hero trait, but obviously the Hero trait's not going to matter if you're playing pure Cross Heart, from your hand with the play cost reduced by 5, and if you did, delete this Digimon. And then it has an on-deletion effect, you may place 1 Digimon card with the Cross Heart, Blue Flare trait from your hand or trash under any of your tamers, then save. So that hand or trash on deletion is pretty good, because if you've managed to lose, say for example, I don't know, all your Z Greymons had managed to go to your trash, you can then get one of those Z Greymons and put it straight under one of your tamers. Not bad at all. And then again, gives rush as part of its inheritable. Then we've also got the Shoutmon DX. This one does use Omni Shoutmon and Z Greymon as a Digicross. Has security attack +1, and it's also treated as Omni Shoutmon or Z Greymon for a Digicross. So bear that in mind. That's pretty cool. Can Digivolve on top of Z Greymon or a level 5 of Cross Heart and its traits. Has the on play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's lowest DP Digimon, and when this Digimon would leave the battle area, you may place up to 4 Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait Digimon cards from its Digivolution cards under one of your tamers, so you could save basically everything underneath it, which is really good. And then we do have the new Superior mode. So when this card will be played by placing one of your Shoutmon under it, reduce the cost by 1, and cards in your trash can be placed for a Digicross. So this one actually does use stuff from your trash for the Digicross as well, whereas the older one, we'll just remind ourselves of what the older one does. Soup. Where's the soup? There it is. What do you do again? So this one, oh no, they both use trash. Okay, so fair enough. But it's cool that it still has that effect going on. Has the on play when Digivolving, trash the top 10 stacked cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. So just basically just does a massive de-Digivolution, which is pretty cool. And then when attacking, you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck. So not a bad card at all. Nice and big. It is red and yellow. So bearing in mind also in Charles's current build with the Sepia memory boost, so this is actually searchable off the Sepia memory boost, whereas the old one isn't. So I would probably bank on, if Charles wanted to keep Superior mode in the deck and not just go like 2 Valderarms, he's probably going to replace this one with that one, I would imagine. And then the last card to talk, or last couple of cards to talk about, is the other BT21 stuff, which is the new Taiki. This one, you place a Digimon card with the Cross Heart or Blue Flare trait or Hero trait from your hand under this tamer, and you draw one, gain one memory, give it a little cool boy effect. And then when your Digimon are played, or Digimon, if any of them have the Cross Heart or Hero trait, by suspending this tamer, one of them may attack. So it gives like a pseudo blitz to anything that, of course, can legally attack, but you can give rush to a lot of your guys with, with your, rush inheritables. So if you do manage to pass turn whilst doing a cross, you can then use this to then go ham and go buck wild. Then the last card to talk about is Can't Turn My Back, as an option card from BT21. While you have a Digimon with the Cross Heart trait, you can ignore this card's colour requirements. Place all Digimon cards in one of your Cross Heart trait Digimon's Digivolution cards under one of your tamers. Then you may play one Digimon card with the Cross Heart trait from your hand with the play cost reduced by 1 for each card this effect placed. So this makes your crosses cost even less. So, if you haven't got all of your pieces, this then can make the difference to make those crosses not cost much at all. But yeah, really cool stuff coming in BT21 for this deck, and definitely can't wait to see what Charles is going to do with it. But if you'd like to know what Charles wants to do with it, obviously the best way to do that is to like, subscribe, and ding the notification bell so you're not missing out on any of the latest content. Let me know what you guys think of Charles's build. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you think there's any improvements? Do you think there's things that you learned from it? Whatever. Just let us know in the comments below, and let us know what other things you guys want to see as we somehow leave BT20. I can't believe we're already leaving the BT20 format, really. It feels like BT20 came out yesterday. Because, basically it did. What sort of decks you guys want to see in BT21. But until next time, everyone, we'll catch you on the next video. But until then, keep it digital.